I want to tell you something I realized about myself a few months ago, something I didn't want to admit at the time. I was good at surviving difficult seasons, deadlines, pressure, months where everything felt urgent. I knew how to push through those. What I wasn't good at was free time. When it came to real, unstructured free time, every summer I'd arrive with a sense that something important was about to happen. And every September I'd look back somewhat surprised. Not at the things that went wrong, but at how little I was able to improve in that much time. The summers were wasted, and not because they were bad. It was all because nothing in them required me to be fully present. It took me a long time to understand why. And what I found wasn't about discipline or motivation, or any of the things self-improvement culture usually points to. It was something most people never examine. The brain doesn't experience time as a calendar. It experiences it as intensity, as the density of moments that felt different from everything around them. When you're under pressure, the brain remembers memories quickly. Things feel significant because they are. But comfort doesn't work like that. Comfortable days slide past without friction, without remembering, without leaving a trace. Psychologists call this time compression, the feeling that whole months disappeared while you were busy being fine. I noticed this in myself when I tried to recall what I'd actually done the previous July. I could name maybe 4 or 5 things. Out of 31 days, the rest was just comfort. And here's what made it worse. I wasn't unhappy during those days. That's the trap. The brain's ability to normalize any condition works so fast that what felt like relief in the first week of summer becomes invisible by week 3. You stop feeling the freedom because you've already adjusted to it. It's just the new baseline. So you're not uncomfortable enough to move. You exist in a state that is genuinely pleasant and genuinely empty at the same time. And the summer passes inside that state quietly, completely, without asking for your permission. The instinct when you understand this is to reach for motivation, to make a list, set goals, find a YouTube video about morning routines, something to restart the engine inside you. That almost never works. And I say that from experience, not theory. Tried it multiple times. The list would exist. The motivation would be real for a few days. And then it would dissolve, because motivation is a state. It comes and goes based on context, energy, sleep, and social friction. You cannot build a summer on something so unstable. What actually helped me wasn't wanting more. It was designing slightly better defaults. Not a complete system, just 1 or 2 anchors that existed regardless of how I felt that morning. A walk before coffee, or even 20 minutes of reading before my phone. Something small enough that skipping felt lazier than doing. A behavioral scientist at Stanford spent decades studying exactly this. His conclusion was simple and uncomfortable. Motivation follows. Behavior motivation is a state. It comes and goes based on context, energy, sleep, and social friction, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel ready and then act. You act in the smallest possible way, and the feeling catches up. Or it doesn't, and it doesn't matter, because the behavior was small enough to happen without it. The reason this is especially relevant to summer is that summer removes all the external triggers that normally prompt behavior. No clock that forces you awake, no meeting at 9 a.m. that structures your morning, and no school that holds you in a desk for 8 hours straight. Without those, you need something called discipline, and the only way to build it is to start before you feel like it. I want to be precise about what a wasted summer actually costs, because it's not what most people think. It's not the productivity, the projects that didn't happen, the books that stayed unread, or the habits that didn't form. Those things matter, but they're recoverable. You can read the book in autumn, you can start the habit in November. What you can't recover is the identity. Every summer you spend entirely on autopilot. You send your brain the same message. This is who I am. Someone who dreams big but doesn't act. Someone whose intentions and actions live in separate rooms and never collide. I spent years with a gap between how I saw myself and what I actually did with unstructured time. And the longer that gap existed, the more it cost. Not in productivity, but in self-trust. There's a specific kind of low-grade exhaustion that comes from repeatedly not keeping promises to yourself. It accumulates. It starts to feel like a personality trait instead of a pattern you could change. That's the real cost of a wasted summer. Not the lost time. Time is mostly recoverable. It's the story you tell yourself about who you are when no one is watching and nothing is forcing you to act. That story compounds quietly over the years and is slowly taking over our lives, and it goes in one direction or the other. Either you're slowly building evidence that you're someone who follows through, even imperfectly, even at a small scale, or you're slowly building evidence that you're not who you said. And the best time is the summer because it's so unstructured that it's one of the most honest realities you'll ever get about yourself. I want to be clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying rest of the progress during summer is a waste, or that a slow afternoon by a window is something to be ashamed of. Rest is legitimate. Choosing to do nothing on a Tuesday is a completely valid human decision. The difference I'm pointing to is between choosing rest and surrounding to it. Between a regular day you decided to rest and a summer month that just happened to you without any improvements is a huge difference. The summers I remember, the ones that actually feel like mine, weren't the most productive ones. They were the ones where, at least some of the time, I was doing something that required me to be present. A book that changed something in how I thought. A morning I spent creating something instead of consuming it. Small things, but well chosen. That's all it takes to make a summer legible to memory. Not achievement, not transformation, just enough intention, enough moments where you had to actually be there and you were. By September, you want to be able to look back and find yourself in it, not a record of everything you accomplished. Just evidence that you were present. That you were, in some small way, the author of those months and not just a passenger through them. If you've watched this far, there's probably something specific on your mind. Something you keep meaning to start, or return to, or pay more attention to. You don't need a plan for it. You just need to do one version of it tomorrow, the smallest version that still counts.